That's the gist of it. Hey everybody, Frank Spear. Welcome back to the second edition here, second episode of Analyzing Van Halen. Today we are going, I've got my head chopped off because you don't want to see me. You want to see the guitar and the fingerboard. You just need to hear me. Welcome to the second episode of Analyzing Van Halen. Today we're going to look at the song Women in Love. And this is one of my favorite Van Halen tunes by far. Eddie's chord work is just masterful here. His melodic sensibility in the use of these, again, simple chords, little chord fragments actually, is pure genius. That's what made him king. His ability, I mean, we all have these same notes, right? And he's playing these chords again, E, D, C, B, G. I mean, it's not like he's using A flat minor 7th, sharp 9, flat 5 chords, right? This is not jazz. This is rock and roll. And Eddie had the unique and unprecedented ability, and still to this day, I don't think anyone has done it quite like him, to take these simple chord and chord fragments and make these amazing, create these amazing melodic ideas that are memorable and singable and so friggin' musical that we continue to fall in love with these songs over and over again. So Women in Love, one of the best rock guitar songs ever written, rock guitar pieces. He's got that harmonic tapping. This again is in the key of Van Halen. It's in the key of E. Of course, E flat because Eddie tuned down a half step. I'm also tuned down a half step. By the way, this is the EVH Frankenstein. And I totally Eddieized it. I did the burn marks on it here, stuck the fake cigarette in there. I usually keep this hanging on the wall. Let's see. What did I do? Put the picks on there with the tape. I put the quarter on there, actually using it with the tremolo. I put the pick guard holes all around. As you can see, I scratched up the, aged the pick guard a bit there, and also lightly sanded some of the sheen off the metal parts, so that it looks a little dull and a little older. Got the reflectors on the back. This is Brad Gillis's guitar pick from a 1984 Night Ranger concert. At that concert, because I'm so tall, I'm 6'4", I caught the drummer's stick. I caught a hat that the singer was wearing, and Brad tossed out a bunch of picks, and I caught one of the picks, and I've had it ever since. So I screwed that in there just for the hell of it. It's 1984. I got one of my business cards in here because it was just plain wood, and I hated the way it looked. What else did we do? Oh, got the back plate there with Eddie's number on it, just like on his guitar. You probably can't see that on here. And catch a reflection of it right there. Not a reflection of it, but get it angled right. So I went all out with this. to the best of my ability. I know I'm probably missing a couple of things I did, but there you have it. Anyway, so he's got that tapping part in the beginning, which again is on the E chord to B to D to A. E to B, D to A. No special chords here. You know, and he's doing that. Tap the harmonics 12 frets above whatever chord or notes he's on here, right? So he's got that. That's D. I mean E. Then A. Then he does the same thing down here at D. So it's got a. All right. Oh man, sorry. Okay. It's hard to play it slow, right? To play it fast too. I haven't played this in a long time, but you get the gist of what's happening. He's basically playing right. Then you get this. So it's just those simple chords again. And I said this in the last video. Eddie loves to play chords sort of in fourths, right? Does it again in this song. He uses E, he uses B, he uses D, he uses A, he uses C, he uses G, he uses B flat, he uses F. All of those songs aren't even, all of those chords aren't even in the key of E, but he uses them chromatically. You know, and in jazz, they've got all kinds of reasons that you would use those chords. Maybe Eddie was familiar with those things, maybe he wasn't. I don't know, but there's tritone substitutions and so forth. So for example, he'll use B flat in the key, right? And he'll use the note. Sometimes he even uses the chord in other songs, but he uses the note here a couple times. And that's a tritone substitution for E in jazz, right? So it's a flat 5 of E. So you build a B flat 7 chord off of that tritone sub. So if you were in A, the flat 5 of A is E flat. So you would take this E flat and build a E flat 7 chord and use it in place of this A7 chord. Right, so you could sub it out for that. So whether or not Eddie knew that, I don't know, but he does it. Maybe it just sounded good to him, right? Because if you're playing an E, C isn't there, and neither is B flat. But it sounds cool, right? Listen. Doesn't sound wrong. So anyway, he's got that tapping that I did really horribly in the beginning here. You got to be at a loud volume, really loud volume too, to get it right. Okay, so he's got that tapping part in the beginning, and then he does this. So you've got the B, the A, and the G sharp, all in the key of E, right? So we know that in E, A is the 4th, and B is the 2nd, and G sharp is the 3rd in the key of A major. So he's just tapping notes right out of the key there. Okay? Then he has this amazing that whole thing, right, is brilliant and gorgeous, but he's coming off that tapping. This is basically a D chord. He's got D, then he's playing these open strings. He's grabbing the D here and he's grabbing the B, which is a D major chord. Now D is not in the key of E, but it's in the key of E minor. Or if Eddie liked to use the Mixolydian scale and use that to form chords, so you get the flat 7 in the key of E with mixolydian. You get it with the A only, the minor scale too, the natural minor. There's your D. You get that flat 7 in the E minor scale as opposed to the major 7 right here, which you get in the major scale. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get that note, that 7th, right? The E flat in the E major scale. But in the E minor scale, you get that 7th, the D. So Eddie uses D to start it here. Grabbing the B, he's got open E strings, open B. There's another B, his open E string, right? And he's even got an open D string. So he's got D, D, B, B, and then an E thrown in there, which if you're looking at a D chord, the E is the 9th. So technically you could look at this as a D9 chord or a D add 9. And he grabs these 2 harmonics here at the 7th fret. So you got a B note, and right here you got an F sharp. Both in the key of E, right? F sharp in the key of E major is the 2nd. I think before I said B was the 2nd. It's not, it's the 5th. Talking too fast here. So you got F sharp and you got B as the 5. So this stuff wasn't random. I mean, Eddie knew what he was doing, right? He was trained as a piano player as a kid. He understood notes and how they work together. These are all in the key or somehow related to the key, working within the key. Then he moves that down to a C sharp chord. Now, it depends on how, if I'm looking at these chords from the root, if I looked at it from this A, then I could make it a certain A chord. If I looked at it from the E that rings out at the top, I could see how the notes relate to that E. But I'm looking at them from their root notes, right? Eddie's walking down here chromatically, right? So he's walking down these 3 notes, then he gets to the E. All right, so it's a C sharp chord here. C sharp is in the key of E. It's the 6th E major. You've got the C sharp. You've got the D again, right? Which is odd here because it's a flat 2 against it, but it sounds awesome. It sounds dark and almost sounds like you're tuning up. But then he hits that G, the A. Right? A is in the key of E, and as it relates to the C sharp chord, right? It depends on how you look at it here, but it would be like an augmented, be like a sharp 5 away. Doesn't matter all that terminology. It just matters that the notes are all in the key of E, right? So he's got same thing with the open B and E. Then he hits these 2 harmonics, right? Which is an A and an E. So Eddie really hasn't done anything here but play E chords, B chords, D chords, A chords, and, C sharp he throws in there. We got 1 C sharp in there so far. But, this guy's playing. That's it. But look what he's doing with it. Now here he goes and he plays a C chord, which is not in the key of E, but it's in the key of E minor. So he's doing the blues. Sometimes he's playing major notes in E, and sometimes he's playing minor notes in E, and that's the blues, right? So here you've got a C, you've got the open D. Right? You got an A, which is a 6th as it relates to C. You've you've got the open B and E again. Then he does this and walks back down. So he grabs the G, which is in E minor, and he pulls off to the open E, which is super bluesy. The E minor pentatonic. That's all Eddie's doing here. So he's got this chord right here, and then he does, and hits that B and G string, or it's but it's the A note. And then he does this. He goes, oh, what does he do there? Out of tune. Hold on a sec. Okay, so off of this C chord, so he goes bop, 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 then first set of 3 strings, and then he starts from the B and goes down the next set of 3 strings. So E chord, here on that E chord, he hammers on from the G sharp to the A, classic blues move. So, pulls back off, then to A, and hammers onto a D chord off that A. It's this form of a D, like with the F sharp in the bass. So it's, so what has he done there? He's used D, right? He's used a D chord, he's used a C sharp chord, he's used a C chord, he's used an E chord, he's used an A chord, he's used a D chord, but created those beautiful melodies. Just like he did with John 3:16, if I can remember how that goes. These are like the John Cougar chords from oh God. How's that go? Something like that. Eddie slides into that. John 3:16, I think he does something like, it's not John 3:16, I just think it's 3:16 is the song. I don't know. E, F sharp, right? So E, F sharp, A, D, sliding it up to a B, to an E. So you got E, B, D, A, E, F sharp, all those. Eddie makes use of these same chords in almost every tune. Okay, so after this part, he's got, after that intro, he's got the right? Same chords as the intro, basically. Not basically, they are. He's just playing them now more distorted. Back to the E. So we don't have to go over those. Those are the same chords we just looked at with the harmonics, right? So he's got that going, and then when he breaks into the, and then he's got a little trill here. Trilling from D to E, C sharp to D to B. Then the march, you're breaking my heart. Girl, you better stop thinking something weird. What do we got there? We got a form of a G chord, right? So you got G, G, right? Then B, A. I'm sorry. You got G, G, E, E. G, G, E, E. So it's like a G6 chord. Or an E minor chord. Either way, right? Here's E minor. G6. Right? G6. 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 It's a G note with the sixth note away from it in its major scale. I would look at it more like an E minor since we're in the key of E. Again, chromatic, bass notes. Till he gets to the A. I think, let's see what he does here. Lord, you're breaking my heart. Right, there's an F sharp chord here. D with a D. So he's got this F sharp, G, D, E. Even if you don't know what that chord is, again, these notes are in the key of E, right? F sharp, right? G is in E minor, right? D is also an E minor, and then back to an E. Then he goes down to the F. Now F is not in the key, right? Right? So you got F in the key of E is the next note up. It's a half step away. So there's an odd chord. It's a flat 2 or a flat 9 thrown in. But for the sake of chromaticism, Eddie throws it in. He's got that D in there, and the E, and the G. And then he hits the A chord. Seems like loving you is just a crazy dream, but do what you feel. Then we break into the that's high, man, for me. So what do we got there? We got D to E to C to D. That's the whole part. But the genius of Eddie is sliding into it with that arpeggio. Just an E arpeggio, starting from the root E, sliding up to the third, right? The G sharp. Then he outlines this E chord. Then he hops to the D. But this form of it up here. Goes to the E chord, uses the arpeggio again. So he's taken the E, and then actually he hits the F sharp, then slides up to the third. So it's 1, 2, 3. Right? Then it's right there's we make C. Trying to remember this as I go. I probably should have went over the song, but I'm recalling it from memory. You get the gist. It's still only these chords. It's still only the D, the E, and the C. Then he's got another section, I think, of trills, right? Where it was like, oh, he goes. Been a long long time like this. He goes up. Yeah, then he just does that an octave up, right? Then repeats. So he's got this little break in lieu of a lead in this song where he's walking down chromatically from C sharp to C to B flat, not in the key. Okay, but it's that maybe that tritone sub we talked about. It's a flat 5 or a sharp 4 in the key of E. Then he comes back to the B and the C sharp and trills. So it's then E to F sharp, then D to E, then plays a D chord, a little partial 2-note double stop D, and it's third F sharp. So see again, most of these notes, save 1 or 2, are directly from the key of E or E minor. Sometimes he'll throw in a B, sometimes he'll throw in an F, because like I said, Eddie loves those fourths, right? And so he likes to continue that pattern. There's the B flat to the F. He does this in so many tunes. If he's playing an E or A, he'll throw the B flat and the F in there. This is Van Halen right here. That's Eddie Van Halen. Just the genius was doing all that stuff he did to it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, the point of these videos is to break down the genius of Eddie in taking the simple ingredients on guitar and doing what most of us could never do. But thankfully, we have the privilege of being able to listen to it and learn it. I should have probably went over this a little better, but you get the gist. I think I got most of the chords and stuff right. And we'll look at a lot of tunes coming up in the future. We'll look at, you know... We'll look at a lot of stuff. We'll look at we'll get to a whole mess of it. All right, guys, thanks again for watching. Hope you got something out of this.